What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is having a good day and a good week. We're about midway through, so we're one day closer to the weekend. And a question every now and then I ask myself when I see these articles, specifically related to this article pop up, is I wonder how much money Stephen King has made on selling his works to studios, big or small, especially lately, where it seems like so much more of his work is getting turned into a film or a TV series or both. I mean, for example, like we had the original film, they came back, redid the film, had two films, a remake and then a sequel, and now it's getting a TV series. And here we are again, we are going back to, kind of two separate topics. One, we're going back to something he's previously done or work or a film that was previously done based on his work, and we're either redoing it, remaking it, getting a new version of it, or the other flip side to that coin is, from a broader sense, is studios, streaming platforms are now going back to something that was popular in the 70s, 80s, up through maybe even through the 90s, early 2000s, and saying, oh, this was popular back then, this franchise or this film was popular, now let's remake it, let's reboot it, let's give it a prequel or a sequel. And it almost feels like we're running out of ideas. I've mentioned that before, where at times it feels like studios and companies are just running out of new ideas, fresh ideas when it comes to entertainment, where we keep just now recycling something that was once popular and has a cult following. And here we are, Stephen King's Cujo still has bite. Netflix sets movie deal for classic thriller novel. So this news dropped yesterday, so I have two articles that we're going to cover off on for this topic. We're going to go through them fairly quickly, so stick with me. But Deadline was the one that broke this news yesterday, and then we have another article that we're going to look at that might have a little bit more information. It may not, but I just want to make sure we cover off on all of our bases. But in a way, I'm not surprised. I am surprised. I'm a little surprised that this is going to Netflix, and I'm a little surprised that they're not saying, hey, let's try to put this as a global or domestic theatrical release. I mean, they were successful with it. Why not try to redo Cujo? Now, I don't know if maybe it's just a little bit tougher of a sell, because if you haven't seen the original Cujo, I would highly recommend seeing it. It's a great film for its time, but I would recommend not seeing it if you, one, are afraid of dogs, or if you've ever been attacked by a dog. I would then recommend not seeing it, because it might be a bit difficult for you to watch. So let's jump through this article real quick, and then we're going to go take a look at the other one and give our final thoughts on this. So Netflix has made a deal to turn the Stephen King best-selling novel Cujo into a new feature film. Roy Lee is producing, and they will go out to writers immediately. And again, if you look at the timestamp on this was around this time, maybe a little bit later on in the day yesterday. So this is not even 24 hours old. And if they are going out, and I'm assuming that they were going out to writers immediately, they've probably already started doing that. I wouldn't be surprised if they're starting to narrow down that list. The novel, originally published in 1981, was first turned into a 1983 thriller that starred Dee Wallace as a mother desperate to protect her son from a formerly friendly 200-pound Saint Bernard that has been bitten by a rabid bat and turns into a ferocious, calculating hound that leaves a trail of bodies. Mom and her son get stuck in her small car that won't start, and their choices are to battle it out with the rabid, oversized hound, or risk heat stroke in a hot car. Now, I will say I've owned a Saint Bernard, and a 200-pound Saint Bernard, that's a pretty big Saint Bernard. They typically don't get to be that size. Now, other dogs like English Mastiffs do tend to get that size and actually quite bigger. But that's a pretty big Saint Bernard. And again, if you've never seen Cujo, go give it a watch. I would recommend it. The film was one of many adaptations of King's thriller bestsellers that turned into film hits, which we discussed at the opening of this. King continues to be a prolific as ever. Never Flinch will be the next one published, and he's working on a third installment of the Talisman. But his backlist continues to be golden. The Osgood Perkins directed adaptation of King's short story The Monkey just came out, and upcoming are the Francis Lawrence directed The Long Walk, the Edgar Wright directed Glenn Powell star The Running Man, and It prequel Welcome to Derry, which is the other one we mentioned at the start of this, with Andy Muschietti directing. The Jack Bender directed The Institute, and a series adaptation of Carrie with Mike Flanagan directing, which again is another TV series that we're getting. And Carrie, we've talked about Carrie when we were covering this TV series that they're supposed to be doing, where we've gotten the original, we've gotten a sequel, then a remake, and some of those were not very successful at all. So my previous opinion on that still stands true. I'm surprised they're going back to the well for more Carrie content. Now maybe with Mike Flanagan involved, they've been able to come to a story or a direction that they feel will be successful versus what they've had done previously. And we've again talked about Welcome to Derry on many occasions. As more information has come out, we've been sharing that. Now, as it deals with the Running Man, it's my understanding is, as far as the original goes, the original was not true to the novel. This one is more true to that novel. So it's going to be interesting to see the differences between those two versions of the film, to see how far apart they truly are. Even though character names will be somewhat the same, but as far as the premise of the story, this remake or this newer version is supposed to be far truer to the work, to King's work. So we have here the end of the article. Adaptations of more recent King novels include Fairy Tale with Paul Greengrass and The Life of Chuck with Flanagan. King is rep by, it just gives us representation. So let's go over to the other article from yesterday. We have here from posted on Bloody Disgusting. Let me close this out real quick. Netflix bringing Stephen King's Cujo back to life with a new movie, which we just covered. So right here, as they are mentioning, Deadline is reporting this afternoon Netflix and producer Roy Lee are developing a brand new Cujo movie. So I don't think that was mentioned in the last one. They mentioned that they were bringing another film, but brand new. At least that's telling me it's not a sequel, it's not a prequel. It's either going to be obviously starting over, being based off the source material, and then just a new take on that story. Again, kind of like The Running Man, I'm wondering how true to the source material they're going to stay with this new film, or if they're going to venture off and really this is just going to be just the name in a sense, like, hey, this is Cujo. We use Stephen King's book for cherry-picked a few things, but otherwise we're allowing the producer and director to have kind of free reign on what story they want to tell. No other information has been announced at this time, so stay tuned for more. And then it kind of goes over some of the same information we have here. I don't see anything else that might be of essence. It just gives a synopsis of King's novel, which we kind of just briefly covered off on the previous article. It was announced 10 years ago that Sun Classic Pictures was behind a new Cujo adaptation titled Cujo, Canine Unit Joint Operations, but the project never got off the ground. I didn't know about that, but kind of glad it didn't, because just in that name alone, it doesn't make much sense. Stephen King recently returned to the world of Cujo for a short story sequel titled Rattlesnakes. The long-awaited follow-up tale debuted in last year's King anthology, You Like It Darker. Below you can listen to a talk about the making of the original Cujo with Bloody FM's King podcast. And again, I'll provide these links for both these articles in the description of this video. So if you want to check out that podcast, you want to read through these articles a bit more, you can do so. And this is just a cover of the Cujo novel, as you can see. So a little bit more information in this second article, not much more, but again, a little more. Didn't know this from 10 years ago, that there was this attempt by Sun Classic Pictures to do a new adaptation. Again, just based on that name, I'm kind of glad it didn't, because it doesn't sound like it would have really anything to do with the source material. But as we find out more on this story, we will make sure to bring it to you. But it does seem like we are going to be a ways off from getting any first look images from the film, a teaser or a full trailer. And as you see here, this picture is from the original film, if you don't know, but that's from the original film. So all right, everyone, that's going to do it for this horror news update. Please drop a comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Are you interested, excited to see a brand new Cujo film coming to Netflix? If you're not, still let us know. Also, if you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we will see you at the next one. Peace.